The great Mahatma Gandhi led a non-violent revolution, not for glory but for liberation. Even when he held power, he dressed simple and lived a humble life. He didn't just reach the summit, he served from it. Don't let success become your ceiling. This is the moment that no one talks about. You've reached your peak. You've climbed, you've suffered, you became this new person. You have the things that you want in life. Now you're at the summit, and yet something feels kind of off. This is the part where they never kind of told you this is what happens when you've climbed. Not the pain, but the quiet part after you win. The doubt, the drift, the pressure to maintain what you have right now. This is day 21. Welcome to the summit. Not the end, not the reward, the beginning of a new kind of responsibility. The summit is where people disappear, not because they failed, but because they weren't prepared in the first place for the success that they received in life. This is the moment not just to stand tall, but to see further than that. The mountain is actually the mirror. Here's the hard truth that nobody tells you, and nobody wants to tell you. The summit doesn't change you. It reveals who you are. It shows you what was already inside of you, whether it's your ambition, the wounds that you have, the fears, the drive that you have. Standing at the top forces you to ask these types of questions. What was I chasing all this time? Was it mine or someone else's dream? Now that I have it all, why do I still feel incomplete? If you're not careful, you'll try to fill that gap with more success. However, fulfillment doesn't come from reaching the top. It actually comes from alignment with what matters while you're there, when your identity outgrows your achievements. So this is what happens when the summit you've reached no longer feels like home. You've outgrown the story that you've had. You've outgrown the actual identity that you've had. You've outgrown the praise that once motivated you. This is terrifying. However, this is also where reinvention is actually born. You're not losing yourself, you're shedding a skin. You're evolving into someone your past never self-imagined. Your dreams are allowed to evolve. And so is your definition of success, of course. It doesn't mean you're lost, it means you're finally free. Let me give you some stories that I've found to be very captivating. Brené Brown built her academic reputation on shame research, but transformed at the peak where she chose to become a storyteller of actual vulnerability. She steps into the public arena not with perfection, but raw humanity. Rick Rubin, one of the most successful music producers in the world, turned away from chasing hits to cultivate meaning. He created a space for artists to find themselves again, not just their next song. Yo-Yo Ma, after decades as a world-renowned cellist, began using music to connect divided communities through his Silk Road Ensemble. Dr. Terare Trent, born in rural Zimbabwe, overcame incredible hardship to become a leading voice in global education. Oprah called her the most inspiring guest she's ever had. That says something. The great Mahatma Gandhi led a non-violent revolution, not for glory but for liberation. Even when he held power, he dressed simple and lived a humble life. He didn't just reach the summit, he served from it. What would you do with yours? Every summit has a price. Of course, there's a price for everything that you do in life. And the higher you go, the more it costs. Whether it's privacy, simplicity, time, old relationship, not everyone could follow you up here. Not everyone should. Some will resent you for your elevation. Others will feel actual abandonment. But you let them go with love, because clinging to familiar will only hold you back from who you're becoming. You can carry their memory, but not their resistance. One thing I recommend, and I found to help me, it's the journaling. And I find that a lot of folks who are doing well in life are also using their journals a lot. I recommend journaling your journey. Reflect, not to dwell, but to remember exactly what went on. Also remember to surround yourself with truth tellers, the ones who don't care about the status that you have. The most important is to practice gratitude daily. The moment you stop appreciating it, you start losing it. Serve quietly. The loudest work is often the least impactful. Revisit your beginnings. Never forget the climb. Ask yourself these types of questions. Am I still growing? Who am I without success? What would I do if I had to start again tomorrow? Am I really leading from essence or ego? What am I pretending not to know? And where am I holding back right now? These aren't scary questions, they're actually liberating ones. Because you didn't climb this high to actually lie to yourself. You came up here to see everything. Most people fight to stay relevant, but relevance completely fades. What always lasts is the most important of all, and that's character. There's a grace in stepping down to lift others to do what they're also meant to do in life. There's an honor in letting go. There's also wisdom in knowing this specific sentence here. I don't need the summit to prove I'm enough. That hits me. I hope it hits you too. You are not the peak you reached. You are the strength it took to reach it. You are not the applause. You are the quiet courage that kept going when no one was watching. You are not the image they see. You are the roots they held firm in every storm. The summit isn't a place. It's an absolute mindset that you have. And today, you didn't touch the top. You became the mountain. Tomorrow, we talk about what happens when high fades and how to return with more clarity, not less power. Because every summit has a come down, and most people aren't ready for that. But you will be. You're not just chasing mountains anymore. You're becoming one. And let's not forget the most important of all. Stay grateful for what you have. And I'll see you in the next one.